today, I'd like to talk some Dogman. Some of you in the community, whether you be enthusiast or researcher, may get upset with what I have to say, especially if you don't listen to my entire line of reasoning. It is not my intention to go out of my way to belittle anyone's beliefs, or to upset an entire group of people, just to push my own opinion. After all, there very well could be upright walking dog-like cryptids out there. I am not a disbeliever by any means. Who's to say there aren't patty types and dogman types living side by side in areas of the world? With all those niceties aside, I would like to show a possible reason for the misidentification of a Type 1 hominoid for a Type 3 dogman. There are more than a few characteristics which separate purported dogman testimonials from the standard hominoid sightings. I'm not going to list them all, just the two most common purported morphologies. Arguably, the two most obvious differences that dogman witnesses report seeing are a canine-like long muzzle and large upward-oriented ears. I claim no possible explanation for misidentifying a hominoid's face for a canine-like muzzle. I would, however, like to illustrate a potential reason for mistaking the shading behind a very well-developed zygomatic arch for long pointy werewolf-like ears. Straight from the Encyclopedia Britannica, the zygomatic arch is a bridge of bone extending from the temporal bone at the side of the head around to the maxilla, in front and including the zygomatic or cheekbone as a major portion. The masseter muscle, important in chewing, arises from the lower edge of the arch. Another major chewing muscle, the temporalis, passes through the arch. The zygomatic arch is particularly large and robust in herbivorous animals, including baboons and apes. In human evolution, the zygomatic arch has tended to become more gracile or slender. For example, Australopithecus robustus, an early hominid, had a large zygomatic arch, taken by some scholars to be evidence for a herbivorous diet, while Australopithecus africanus, a later hominid, had a small, fragile-looking arch and is generally believed to have been a hunter and omnivore. In modern humans, the zygomatic arch is more prominent in some populations and is larger and more robust in males. All of the interactions I've personally had with my forest cryptids have happened when I've surrendered all tactical advantages. What I mean by that is that I believe there may be a correlation supporting a greater probability of a relict hominoid showing itself to you when it has the high ground, has the wind in its face, has multiple escape routes behind it, and lastly, the sun at its back. Having the sun at its back means that the sun would be in your eyes if you were to look in its direction. This entire line of reasoning is only supported by the hypothesis that these creatures, whether canine or hominoid, have their movements dictated by tactical awareness, especially when humans are near. These heightened abilities may surpass even the best of our special forces. Without this hypothesis, this line of reasoning falls apart, so take this whole video with a grain of salt. In these photographs of known great apes, the lens is pointing towards the sun, but with the sun high enough as to not upset the white balance settings for the camera and underexposing the ape's face. A funny thing happens when these variables all line up. Look at the shape of the shaded area behind the zygomatic arch. This perfect storm of variables that has to come together to shade behind the zygomatic arch in a way to look like werewolf's ears wouldn't be as rare among the circumstances of a typical sighting as you might think, especially if the ears appear to be dark or backlit. This confounding variable should be taken into account during each sighting. Known great apes have another camouflage trick in their toolbox that may present a possible precedent for accentuating the false ear shadowing illusion even more. This may help to explain the green hair that so many Sasquatch eyewitnesses report seeing across North America. Whether you call it color contamination or color bleeding, the green light that is diffused from the surrounding vegetation mixes with sunlight that is entering at an obtuse angle from the eyewitness's point of view, mixing, reflecting, and refracting in a multitude of different ways within and through each individual hair cylinder to produce a green tint. This effect would increase as the distance between the subject and the eyewitness increases. This obtuse angled light source blending ability would greatly accentuate the areas of the animal that are shaded from the light, like the area below the brow ridge and behind the zygomatic arch, giving the viewer the illusion that the animal's head has an outline which appears to be like this, when in reality it's more like this.